What's up, creatures? Welcome to the Rusty Toolbox. This episode, I've got a fiberglass splitter that might turn out to be just a template. We'll see how well it installs and smooths out. Got the car on jacks. Hey, I painted these black. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. Yeah? Matches the rest of the car. Let's do it! Okay, so I've got these marked out pretty roughly, but they should be fairly accurate. I'm going to drill out some holes there to mount that side first. Once that's mounted, then I'm going to sort of fit everything where it's supposed to be, start drilling stuff out, mounting it up. I don't know. I'm learning as I go. I'm not really that stressed about it. But I'm going to make it happen, and then once it's mounted in there, with all the screws in place, looking good, take it off, make it pretty, smooth it out, probably add some filler, lots of sanding, trimming, all that stuff. Alright, that was a big nasty mess, but I think I've got the splitter to a point where I'm happy with it. It mounts up fairly well, really well over here, and then it got a little sketchy over here, and ended up just using the mounting screws from a kit that I got. So it's not perfect on this side. It's just a little wavy. I think it was dipping a bit on the table since I don't have a full-size table here. But it cut really easily with that body cutter tool I have, like a sheet metal cutter. Pretty straight. So now I'm going to sand this. This is obviously the top of it. This is the part that will be mostly visible. Going to be sanding it, getting it a really nice sand. Probably go over it with a little layer of body filler, just to make it really flat and clean. Then, probably either Plasti Dip, so it's flexible, or some paint, and put it on the car. My only concern is there's no connection points in the middle, like in here, so I'm probably going to do some splitter supports coming down into there, not like the big gaudy ones, but just some little ones coming down from the bumper, or from the support for the front mount intercooler. There's actually a decent, like, ½ inch or maybe an inch of bolt that's not being used that, you know, goes up into the mount there. So I'm wondering if I could get something that could hook onto that and then come down. I'll figure it out. But I'm going to call it quits for the day, and then tomorrow, when I've got some more time, I'm going to start working on making this pretty. Pretty stoked. Alright, sorry my GoPro died, but backup phone. Alright, I went through it over with 60 grit and then a 180 just on the lip. Mostly, you know, what's going to be exposed. The rest is just going to be pressed up against the underside of the car, so it doesn't matter much. Now it's smooth. I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm going to go mix some bondo, because there are a few spots, like right in here, right here. I mean, they're kind of all over. There's just some little, like, either air bubbles or cracks with this corner. The corner needs to be redone. So, yeah, gonna go grab some bondo, start filling those, just do the outside lip, and then come right back. All right, getting ready for the first sand of this body filler. Had to go back and fix that first layer because even though the package was labeled that it didn't need hardener, it definitely did. I don't know if it was just old or what, but anyway, I'm gonna sand this down and probably apply another layer, and then hopefully be good to go. So it's been a big day. The sun was out like all day. People were outside of their houses playing and chatting, and people were going on walks. It was really nice. I actually felt almost normal. But that also meant that I was out here doing a lot of work on this splitter. So laid some bondo down, got it pretty dang smooth, at least, you know, the front 2 inches that'll be exposed. And then I put down a really thick layer of this filler primer, a black filler primer. Gonna let that dry overnight. But it looks pretty good. There's a few spots where I may have to go back in with some bondo. But honestly, I'm okay with a few imperfections since it is fiberglass. You know, but I honestly think that once this primer dries and sets, tomorrow I'm gonna hit it with some like 400 or 500 grit sandpaper, 400 grit sandpaper, give it a nice sand, and probably go back over it once or twice more with a big layer of that filler primer, because even just that one thick layer took out a lot of the imperfections that I was seeing. Obviously beyond kind of the general waviness of it. It looks kind of wavy, but once it's all bolted in, it actually looks really flush. So it's looking pretty decent, actually. I'm definitely not a professional body guy, and I'm probably made 100 mistakes even just now with the fiberglass and the bondo. But looking at it here, it's starting to look like an actual splitter. So I'm pretty happy with it. Gonna let this sit overnight, let it really set very well so I can sand it in the morning. Then I'll go back over it and we'll see where we're at. But I'm pretty happy with that. I've got 2 splitter support rods in the mail. Should be here hopefully sometime soon. You never know with these days. but pretty stoked. All right, it's the next day. Actually already went in and sanded this down, added another coat of primer, and in the sunlight it really gives you an idea of some of the little spots. There's some little pock marks and some little rough patches that I think I'm going to go back right now and just hit with a little tiny bit of body filler so to smooth some of these layers up. And now that it's really nice and smooth, it gives you a good idea of what it's going to look like. And I'm actually really happy so far with how it's turning out. So I'm going to do one more coat, one more little bit of body filler in some of these little spots, and then hit it with another coat or two of this this filler primer. And then we'll do, I got this trim and bumper paint. It's going to be probably a matte black finish, which is fine, but it's flexible and it's sort of meant for these kind of parts. So hopefully that paint works well. I'm not sure I'll go over with a clear coat, but maybe. I think that's a pretty durable paint, so probably not. But I'm going to go grab some Bondo, fill in some of these spots, let that seal up and dry, and then hit it with the last coat or two of primer. Alright, got that first thick layer of this bumper and trim paint on there. And it's got a little bit of a texture to it. It might be hard to see on camera, but it's almost got a little texture to it. So I'm going to let that dry and probably do another couple coats, and we'll be done. Alright, there it is. All installed, trimmed, fit up, and I think it looks pretty dang good. I've got to drop the car to the ground, and I still have some support rods to suck this up, because right now it's dipping a tiny bit in the middle, so that'll help bring that up a little more like that. Those will come up and connect from the back and kind of come forward and connect in the middle here. But I think it looks pretty good. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode. That's a DIY splitter. All done. I mean, it's mostly done. Those supporting rods are not going to get in the mail for like another 2 or 3 weeks because of the COVID. But once they're here, I'll catch everybody up. Really stoked, actually. I think it turned out pretty good. It's not perfect, but now I have a splitter and a splash guard all kind of in one. It's great. It protects the underside a little bit. It's cut out so I can still jack up the car, and I'm pretty happy with it. That's my first like real big project with fiberglass, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Thanks a lot for staying tuned and checking it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, it helps me out. We're all going through this crisis together. It's nice to have something to do and something to look forward to. So, as a movie trailer guy would say, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.